What is happening, people? Welcome to Scarfey Talks Premier League. In this episode, we'll be previewing Gameweek 36 in the Premier League. It's a big one, whether you're looking at the title race, which is Arsenal in a very good position, or if you're looking at the top 4 battle, top 6 battle, the battle just for top 10 and kind of mid-table positions, or in particular is heating up down at the bottom as well in terms of survival in this great league. So it is interesting. We've only got 3 weeks now to go. And I'm joined by 2 fantastic guests for what is a fantastic time in the season, unless your club is involved in something and you're a little bit nervous. On edge is often a fantastic one for neutrals. Firstly, I'm joined by Arsenal fan Matt, and what a time to have an Arsenal fan on at the moment. You know, huge win in the Champions League to go through to the Champions League final, where they'll be facing PSG. Matt, I bet you're absolutely buzzing and you're looking good as well in the league.
Yeah, just very happy to be in the position, that we're in. But, the celebrations are over and we focus on to West Ham away.
Absolutely. As always, Matt, you will know, celebration police happens for a lot of clubs, particularly if you are a top 6 club. They love it that they come out in full force. I'm going to agree with you, I think, for what you're going to say, but I'll wait to hear what you say. I mean, you're right, aren't you, surely, to celebrate after you just reached a Champions League final? Is there really going over the top?
Yeah, no. So I put a little jokey comment in the WhatsApp group chat last night because I just wanted to see if anyone's gonna bite at it. So I basically implied that PSG were PSG were over celebrating. Obviously, I don't mean that because my club literally celebrated as well. But what I was pointing out is that teams that even win the Champions League celebrate like that when they get to a Champions League final. And I think for my football club, we don't really like Champions League finals because we played Barcelona in 2006. I'm not going to get into it, but we were very robbed and we've got a bit of PTSD from it. So to have the chance to rectify that and to, grab our first Champions League in our history, I think is a massive thing for the club, for the fan base, for everyone involved at Arsenal, even including, the academy. So yeah, completely in within our rights to celebrate with how we did, personally.
Yeah, I'll totally agree with you as well, even as a top fan, Matt. Thank you very, very much. Barney, it comes to you. Your second and final guest for tonight. Big Fulham fan. How are you doing?
I'm very, very good. A pleasure to be on your podcast again, Harry, and evening to you too, Matt. Looking forward to talking about the games. As a Fulham fan, it's never straightforward, but a nervy time of the season. Lots to play for, both at the top and the bottom and the middle of the tables.
Yeah, that's a very good point. There is an awful lot to play for, like I said there in the intro. Let's get straight into it then. If you're new, by the way, as well, listening on YouTube, subscribe. Scarfey Talks Premier League. If you're listening by audio podcast platform, which this episode will now be available on, please drop us a follow and a 5-star review. First game then. And we start big. Liverpool host Chelsea. Barney, can I get your thoughts on this one? And if you can end with your score prediction as well too, please.
Yep, score prediction at the end. Liverpool have had an indifferent season. Arne Slot is a manager who's been under pressure, and rightly so, after last season's exploits. But they're finding form. Chelsea, though, they look at side devoid of ideas, don't they? They just been going from manager to manager. They don't have any rudder. They lack cohesion. Sometimes I just wonder if some of the players even want to be there. And both clubs will be under pressure to get Champions League. I mean, Liverpool, they're also going for top 4, aren't they? So this is a must-win for them. Obviously, very, very poor result with Chelsea, previous. As for score prediction, I think Liverpool will want to see the season out strong. They need Champions League football. Chelsea, by contrast, they'll be lucky even to make the top half if they carry on the way they are. And it actually, dare I say it, they could actually even finish below us 12th, 13th if they carry on the way they are. Because I just don't see them. I don't see where the goals are coming from with Chelsea. But Liverpool, always good for a good result here and then. They got, players who are threatening. So I'm going for a 3-0 Liverpool win.
3 to Liverpool win. Thank you, Barney. Matt, can I ask you about this game? Who are you going to back as well? I mean, Chelsea looks shot for confidence at the moment. So you're going to back Liverpool?
I'm trying to quickly have a look at Chelsea's next fixture before I say something.
That's Tottenham after.
Okay, yeah, I'm confident with what I'm going to say. I think Chelsea are going to lose all of their remaining games in the Premier League this season, because they've got a manager who, let's have it right, is an academy manager. He's not a senior level football manager. And although Arne Slot has done some very questionable things and tweaks that he's done this season, I think they're going to absolutely batter Chelsea. I do. I just think that Anfield's going to be rocking. Like they're going to want to get behind the team. After that disastrous performance, and result against Man United, they were absolutely shocking in that game. Yes, they scored 2 goals, but Man United basically created those goals for them. And I think that Liverpool are going to win 4-1.
Okay, 4-1 Liverpool, you say. Thank you very much. Well, no, I'm going to go to next, Fulham and Bournemouth. Of course, I'm going to go to Fulham fan. We've got with us the wonderful Barney. Barney, how are you feeling about this one? Are you looking up or down in the table as well, may I ask? And if you can end with your score prediction as well, too.
Right, let me just have a quick look at the table. Yeah, it's really tight. We're currently 11th on 48 points. But then you think what a win would do, as we discussed briefly off air. Now we know that potentially the Champions League could be 6th place. That's literally like someone dangling a large carrot in front of me. And as someone who's seen Fulham feature in the Europa League, it's a competition like no other. It's the Conference League. It's, whatever European competition that your club faces, it's prestige. We've alluded to in the past, Harry, it's level above the Premier League. And when your club gets to European competition, you've arrived. This game could have the potential to be a classic. It really could. What worries me with us is our lack of goals. I've heard on the grapevine Kevin could be back for the weekend, which would be massive, because without him, we've had no creativity down that side in making things happen. Harry Wilson he's done this before. I don't know whether it's distraction of his contract, clubs being linked, but he's just been a little bit invisible the last 3 or 4 games, and it's a bit disappointing, to be honest with you. I expect a lot more of him. And the more I see him being linked with sides like Villa and abroad, I'm just wondering whether he's been a little bit distracted, which is fair enough. I mean, some of these clubs can offer a lot more than what we do. Bournemouth, they're on a massive unbeaten run, aren't they? They generally are a side that scare me, if I'm honest. And obviously the links to the Bournemouth manager, we've heard about today. They're really, really good side. And where they are on the table currently 6th, they're there on merit. They really are very, very good. And I'd like to see them get European football. I'd like to see us get European football, but we just need more goals. I don't predict my side to lose. I never will. I think it'd be a tight game, but we just have to take our chances. So often this season, I've been to games and, we have good build-up play. We get the ball into the right areas, but then we just freeze. We don't know what to do with that in that final third, and we just run out of ideas. I mean, the likes of, Raul Jimenez and Rodrigo Muniz sort of flying blanks, it's a bit worrying. If we're serious about Europe, it's got to click. It's got to click now. So I am going for a 2-1 Fulham win.
Absolutely good to see you back your side there, Barney. Thank you very much. And you're right to mention as well, it looks incredibly likely that 6th place is going to be Champions League. So who's going to get that? That is very, very exciting. Matt, coming to you. Thoughts on this game? It's a big one, isn't it, in the race for European football? And a bit about Bournemouth as well. I mean, they've been looking good, haven't they? And you always worry, don't you, when you announce that managers departing, how's it going to go down? I'd argue at Liverpool, it largely went against them when Jurgen Klopp announced that he would leave, just to give that as an example. But I would also say that with Areola, you don't know if it's linked, but results have been a lot better since the announcement, or around the time of the announcement. They've been good since, if that's a coincidence or not. So yeah, talk to me about this game and score prediction.
I can't. I'm going to be honest. I can't say I was impressed with Fulham at the weekend. When they played us, they just couldn't get the ball past our midfield, and maybe they might have more fun with that in this game. But just quickly on Bournemouth, I actually think that this managerial department departure, is actually going to help Bournemouth in general, because I think the players, some of these players are not going to be here next season, along with the manager. You look at who's that Bournemouth player? You look at Krupi, you look at Ryan, you look at Senesi. Those three players don't strike to me that they're going to be playing at Bournemouth next season. And I think that the next couple of games, considering that sixth place might get Champions League football, I think that they're going to try their absolute hardest and give the fans and the manager the proper send-off that they deserve. Because Bournemouth, where they are right now, are having an absolutely sensational season. And I don't know if Fulham are going to stop that. I don't. I think they're just going to go on leaps and bounds. And, after this game, they play Man City. And I do think that Man City are going to really struggle against these guys. I'm going to go with a 2-0 Bournemouth win.
Back in Bournemouth. Thank you very much. Matt, can I stick with you? Sunderland host Manchester United. What do you think about this one? It's quite hard to call, I'd say, but United still look good. Big win at last time out against Liverpool.
I think Man United are going to batter Sunderland. I do. I do.
Yeah,
I think a lot of teams are going to batter teams, but Sunderland, I just feel that they burnt out. It actually reminds me of the 22-23 season that Arsenal played, and ironically, Granit Xhaka was part of that as his final season. But I don't think it's anything to do with him, but I just think that Sunderland players are just absolutely burnt out, and I don't think that the red card to Dan Ballard was granted. I think that the red card that he got was quite embarrassing from a Premier League point of view, because he didn't yank someone's hair, he didn't pull it, he just brushed it, essentially. And I just think that was really unnecessary to send him off for that. And I kind of just think that decision might have just killed off Sunderland in terms of their, not belief, but just their, what's the word? Their energy that they're going to have for the rest of the season. And I just see Man United taking full advantage of that and absolutely giving them a hiding. I think it's going to be 3-0 Man United.
Okay, bold. Thank you very much. Maybe that guy's going to get his haircut after all that I met as well.
Hold up. They're on 4 wins at the moment.
No, this will be the 4th of their win, so he still can do it for you.
Who have they got after Sunderland?
God, test me now. I'll have a quick look for you. I believe that this would make it 4 if they win this. That's all I know.
Forest.
But after that,
that'd be tricky.
I don't know.
Yeah, after that, it got Forest and then Brighton.
Side note, I really hope the guy doesn't get his haircut. Because
nice guy, by the way. Can I just say, I met at the football concert awards.
He's a nice guy.
That was before he went too big as well.
But I just feel I actually want him to have his haircut so that he can just, in a polite way, just leave my social media screens. Because
but does he want it cut or not? Because we all know that he's never going to be heard of again after that.
I don't think he does want it cut. Because I think
what can he do after? He's got to come up with another idea.
Genuinely,
he needs to give it a long enough break, 3 months, and come back. I think.
I genuinely, if I could be in a room with him, I would genuinely ask him that you are doing this to stay relevant, and rightly so. But I actually feel like he doesn't want his haircut, because when I watched the West Ham game when they drew, when West Ham scored, I noticed on his watch along he showed a glimpse of happiness, because he was like more relevancy. But yeah, no hate to the guy, but I just feel that he's now playing along with it because it keeps him relevant.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you, I suppose. Matt, thank you very much. Barney, can I get your thoughts on score prediction for this one? I mean, I don't want to be harsh by saying this, but it does feel that after a very, very good season back in the Premier League, Sunderland's season is starting to peter out a little bit. That'd be fair, or is that a little bit harsh?
It would be fair. I allude to what Matt said. I thought the red card might deflate him a little bit. Maybe that was, I get why he was sent off, but it's like, yeah. Man United, though, on a cusp, is that the right word? Crest of a wave. Yeah. Crest of a wave. I really admire Michael Carrick. He's done an absolutely fabulous job. And I've said this many times on X, and I've posted this quite freely. I said, if he's not offered the Manchester United job, it'll be a travesty. I think he's done brilliantly. I mean, just to see where they are in the table now, third. They got Champions League football. He's done brilliantly. Sunderland, first season back in the Premier League. They've not disgraced themselves by any stretch. They're currently 12th. They've had some different results. But you know what? If I was a Sunderland fan, and when we came up from the Premier League, Fulham, I was happy with our first season. And Sunderland will be very happy if they finished 12th. But I think Manchester United are, as I said, riding that crest of a wave. And I think they will win 2-0.
Thank you very, very much. Next game, Barney, can I stick with you? Brighton then against Wolves. Again, I'd say Wolves, their season, for them, it's just about getting 19th place. I suppose it does matter. It makes a difference. And Wolves' dreadful start will kind of be forgotten. Or when I say start, I mean start and middle. That'd be kind of forgotten a little bit if they finish 19th. And people will be like, oh, Burnley, they haven't been spoken about much this year, but they finished below Wolves. And then all of a sudden, the conversation shifts. But for Brighton, they're playing for European football. But European football took a little dent last time out with their, I'd say, quite bad defeat against Newcastle, considering Newcastle's poor form before that. Can Brighton get back on the road?
Brighton, another side who's impressed me, along with Brentford and Bournemouth, sides that only a few short decades ago were struggling in the lower leagues. They've come up, they've established themselves. They've said basically to the big six, we're here, we're making ourselves known, and we want to be part of that, group and challenge for Europe. Yeah, I mean, Newcastle, have had a very indifferent season, haven't they? Very, very poor, very poor. Brighton, obviously, will be kicking themselves for losing that, but it's never given in football, is it? You just never know. Wolves and Barney have kind of been really kind of forgotten about in many ways, I feel, because the focus has been so much on West Ham and the Spurs fight to stay up. The two behind have kind of been sort of left behind to sort of battle it out to finish who will finish bottom. It wouldn't surprise me if Burnley finished bottom, because I think Wolves just had a little bit much about them. But all too little too late. There was one stage where I thought Wolves wouldn't get Derby County's points record. But, they're way beyond that now. They've sort of shown a bit more battle. But again, too little too late. I can't see many goals, Harry, in this game, to be honest. I can't really imagine it's going to be, end-to-end stuff. So I'd probably say a goal in it to Brighton 1-0.
Okay, Barney, thank you very much. Nicely put, and you're absolutely right with the Wolves tally as well. That's credit, I suppose, to Rob Edwards and Wolves, so they haven't been perfect. They've got beyond that point. And coming against the big clubs as well. Matt, you can relate to that as well, being funny, but it was a huge result they got against you. Matt, talk to me then about this game and your score prediction. Do you think the Seagulls can get it back on the road, or do you think Wolves can kind of pick up from the point they got against Sunderland? But having said that, there's a lot of boos because they couldn't get past 10-man Sunderland.
I just can't see it. I just can't see a world where Wolves do anything to Brighton, and a Brighton where they're actually fighting for Europe at the moment. They've got 50 points, but Bournemouth are only on 52 points, and it's not out of the realms that they could, potentially get Champions League football. If Aston Villa lose a couple more games, which could be likely, because they could be in a European final as well. Who knows? But I'm gonna go 2-0 Brighton. I just can't see Wolves really laying a glove, really.
Okay, thank you, Matt. I do want to give you the next game, and that is Nottingham Forest against Newcastle. How do you view this one?
I don't know, because obviously Forest are playing right now, and Newcastle they finally got a win. They finally got a win, and it was against Brighton, to be fair. But again, I don't know what it is with Forest, but they just seem to be winning. Like you know, you talk about West Ham over the past 6-7 weeks that they've been churning out wins and draws. But Forest, I mean, they're just winning. You know, they're unbeaten. I don't know. Is Newcastle at home or away?
Away.
Newcastle away. Okay.
It's
Yeah,
City
I'm
ground.
gonna go 2-1 Forest.
Thank you. Barney, can I get your thoughts on score prediction? I suppose a lot of it depends because at the time of recording, Forest are playing Aston Villa in the Europa League, and that has to have a big influence on injuries, on tiredness, on fatigue, on confidence, whatever it may be.
Forest are a side, definitely, obviously they're down there, but they, in my opinion, they shouldn't, because, you know, they've been really, really good lately. They just had
very
it in
good.
different, really, really good. Their consistency is refreshing. They find a way to get results, which is really pleasing to see. And, you know, they're in Europe, and credit to them. They're doing really, really well. Obviously, they play tonight. But regardless of that, you know, I still expect them to put out, you know, a strong squad against Newcastle. You know, they're good at home. The City ground is a very kind of fortress. It's quite an intimidating place to go. I've been there twice. So you'd think Forest would want to end on a high. They want to do well in Europe and, you know, show their fans, you know, that they're serious and they'll push on next year, which I think they will in the league, definitely. So I'd have to go for a 2-1 Nottingham Forest win.
Okay, thank you very much. I think also Forest proved that they can put out close to their B team. I know Chelsea is struggling, but get a result against the top 6 club. Very impressive, if you ask me, to be fair. Villa couldn't manage it when they rested some players. Matt, I've got to start with you on this one, if you don't mind. Man City and Brentford. I look at City's remaining games and I still think they could drop more points. It could be a big margin you win this by, not being funny. And I'm not even just saying it for the sake of it. But yeah, Brentford here, decent side. Yes, okay. If Brentford are at home, they'd have a much bigger chance. This is at the Etihad. Then City go to Bournemouth. I think that's a huge opportunity where they could drop points. With this game, do you have any hope, any chance, do you think that Brentford could actually get something out of this game?
From an Arsenal point of view, obviously, you know, when Brentford played West Ham, we were like, well, if Brentford win, they're in good stead to play Man City. But if West Ham win, then Tottenham are very close to going out. But it turned out to be kind of the perfect week from an Arsenal point of view, in that Brentford won and convincingly, and obviously Man City dropped points already. But if I'm honest, I mean, to be fair, I'm about to say the same scoreline I said about the Man City and the Everton game. I think Man City are going to win this 2-1, and I'm going to say the same thing I said, you know, for the preview when they were playing Everton, is that I just feel that the quality that they have will just overshine, and the game that they're going to struggle in is the Bournemouth game.
I agree with you. I fully agree with you on that. I just can't see them winning that. I can't see them winning the game against Bournemouth, and you just got to do your job now, if we're honest about it. Barney, come to you. Can I get your thoughts on score predictions?
Yep.
Against Brentford. It's Pep against Keith Andrews. It's Haaland against Igor Thiago.
Yep, I allude to what Matt says. I think there's 2 games that Man City have left that they could potentially drop a point or maybe more to, and that's obviously Bournemouth and the Brentford game. Both sides that a club going, you know, for that elusive title behind Arsenal, who I think are favourites at this stage, could drop points at. But then again, saying that, Man City have this knack of just seeing out games and scoring goals at the crucial moment. We saw that against Everton. It was a never give up attitude, which begrudgingly I like. I like to see that. It's refreshing. I like seeing teams battle to the end. It's always good to see, it's never say die attitude. I think as football fans, we all want to see that, right? We all want to see our sides never give up, never sort of lose hope, if you like. Always fight to the last whistle. 3-1 Manchester City, though. I think this will finish.
Okay, thank you very much. Barney, if I can stick with you, next game, Palace against Everton. Feels like Palace's league campaign is petering out of focus on the Europa League. Assuming they do their job, no surprises, they go through. They're at home. They've got, I think,
Just
2-goal
just
advantage.
just quickly on Crystal
Mm.
Palace, they are 1-0 up
There you go.
against
It's
Shakhtar
done.
at home.
Completely done.
So on aggregate, it is 4-1,
It's done.
which means it's looking like they're going to play a European final 3 days after the Arsenal game on the last game of the season.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay, that's going to change what I'm going to say then.
No.
Wow. Okay, wow, that's really impressive.
There you go.
Really impressive.
Go for it, Barney. Palace and Everton.
Okay. Well, I mean, we've seen how good Palace are in Europe. You know, all the sides down there. You've got to look at Forest.
Oh, sorry, it's 1-1. It's now 1-1.
I love it.
It's still going to go through.
Yeah,
no, but they'll go through. They'll go through. But
Mm.
you just had to look at what they're achieving in Europe, and it's refreshing to see. And I'd love to be that club. I'd love to be challenging for Europe like they are. They're a side who will want to sort of do the job and finish it in Europe. Yes. They will not want to take their foot off the gas in the league, but they're just one of these funny sides who I think sort of always destined to finish about roughly mid-table. They've never been a side to sort of push on from that since they won promotion, barring a few instances here and there. Everton have got some good results away from home. I bear brunt to that. I've seen it. I don't see huge amounts of goals in this. I'm actually going to predict this result to be a draw, 1-1.
Barney, thank you. Everton's European campaign is heating up. They could have had all 3, Matt, against Man City, but by the same token, they were also losing in that game. So how do you think Everton feel now the dust has settled about that? And do you back them in this game?
With Everton, I just want to say I was extremely proud with how they played against Man City. I think the intent was there, that they were not going there just to, hold on for a draw or something. They were going there to win. And I like that, intent from teams that quality-wise, are just not, are nowhere near Man City. Because that takes real guts. But in this game, I see Everton walking over Crystal Palace. I think Crystal Palace are going to go through tonight to the final. And I think that where they are at the moment, I think that they're safe. I think 43 points is safe, more than safe. Because that's like 7. Is that 7 points? Yeah, that is 7 points. So that's 7 points. So Palace would have to lose 2 games, but West Ham would have to win 2 games for it to really matter, or 18th place to win 2 games as well. And I just don't see that personally, because I think West Ham are going to lose. In the upcoming game that we're going to speak about, but in this game, I think Everton are going to win 2-1.
Thank you very much. I think it's going to be very hard for Palace to go down, but it's always a possibility, let's just say. And Newcastle, I thought, were more likely until they beat Brighton. I'll just say that because they were started off a point, I think, behind Palace. So, 42 they had. So listen, I think it's decided in the 40s rather than the 30s, to be honest. I don't think 43's ever gone down. You two know probably better than me, being older, but tell me if I'm wrong.
I don't think 43 has ever gone down. Like if we're talking in the Premier League era, I don't think 42's ever gone down.
Premier League era. Well, I think it's going to be in the 40s because we're talking right now. Tottenham have 37 points and West Ham have 36. I mean, with 3 games to go, I think both West Ham and Tottenham are capable, even though they're tough games, particularly for West Ham, of winning a couple. Honestly, think that. I think both definitely get. I'm very, very confident. Can sit here and tell you that both will get over 40, which again puts pressure on Palace. A win would be lovely. They're probably going to be okay, but I think they might be okay by only a point. I think it's going to be really, really close, and it's going to be proper squeezed at the end. It's going to be quite uncomfortable on that final day at points. But Burnley and Aston Villa is the next game. Matt, where Aston Villa take this one a little bit more seriously. Burnley, how serious do they take it as well? How much does keeping that 19th place, do you think, matters to them? Does it matter that much?
I'm just going to be very quick with this. I think Villa are going to win 3-0. I just don't think Burnley are just bothered anymore. They know they're going down, and it's about trying to save grace of them, not being the bottom side to go down.
They're working on their dance moves.
Yeah. But I think Aston Villa are going to walk all over them, regardless what happens tonight. Really, with Forest. Yeah, I'm going 3-0. 3-0 Aston Villa.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you very much, Barney. I mean, they can't be dancing on the pitch, Burnley. Otherwise, they will get literally walked over by Aston Villa. In the words of Matt, there. How do you see this game and your score prediction?
Very disappointing by Burnley this season. When you want to see clubs come up from the Championship, you want to see them at least compete and make the adaptation.
Do you think they'll do better or worse than they have, Barney?
I don't like to be critical of former managers usually, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to sort of break that rule slightly. I expected more of Scott Parker. I wanted him to learn. I wanted him to sort of get better and realise his mistakes he did at Bournemouth and us, and at least give Burnley a chance. But going back to what you just said, H, I don't see Burnley in any way, shape or form. Unfortunately for them and their fans, it's never a good look to sort of come up having been so good in the Championship and ultimately fail. No one wants to finish 20th, but they could do. I don't think, in all honesty, there'll be trouble by Villa. I think Villa will want a response after their showing against Spurs, which wasn't good enough by their standards. So I'm going 2-0 Villa.
Okay,
just really quickly on Aston Villa,
yes.
They have scored against Nottingham Forest, so it is currently 1-1 on aggregate, which is good news for 6th place, of course.
Ooh.
It was Ollie Watkins.
Barney, your face there is lit up. Of course, following the fight for European football. I mean, there's a lot of teams there. I mean, I look at Bournemouth and Brighton and I think, I fancy you to get that. But Fulham don't count them out there. Very experienced and what I'd call professional side under Marcus Silva that sometimes won't set the light, set the world alight. Sorry, I meant to say, necessarily, like Matt said there, but they can also go and surprise you. Very Fulhamish, as Barney, I'm sure, would say.
It is quite interesting to note as well that the two teams that are in 6th and 7th, who are probably most likely to get European football, are actually both of the teams that are playing Manchester City in the next, either this week or next week, which I think is crucial to know because Fulham and other teams can take advantage of that and potentially get 6 points, whereas they might only get 3 points.
Exactly. Good point.
I can see. Don't know about you guys. I can see City completely flopping from now. I can really see them going.
I don't know. I don't know.
I know it's Pep. I know it's City. I know. I'm a hypocrite. I know, along with everyone else who said, "Oh, this is City. They're going to do the job. They're going to win it." But I look at them now and I think it's nearly done. They're still in it and they talk the talk and that. But Bournemouth, can they really win that? I don't think so. And that's the problem. And if you don't win that, then the gap could be big. I look at your games. Was it Burnley you've got as well? And I just think Arsenal will be okay. I think you win all of them and comfortably too, if I'm honest about it. The only one that I will say is West Ham. I'm stuck between a draw and a win. And that leads me on perfectly to West Ham and Arsenal. Look at that. Matt, of course, I'll come to you first as an Arsenal fan. Are you a little bit worried about this one? Because you've got to be, haven't you? It's not where you can't look at the table. You can't look at West Ham. You've got to look at the fact that, you can look at West Ham. You've got to look at the fact of what they're fighting for, haven't you? To realise that it actually could be a little bit tough.
I think I'm really not worried. And I think it's because my players are going to be on absolute cloud nine. They're going to be so focused now because they're going to know that they could break history with this club. They could become the team that players like Thierry Henry couldn't do. Players like Paul Merson, players like Dennis Bergkamp couldn't win a Premier League and a Champions League, or couldn't win a Champions League. And I think that will be on their mind. And I just think that they're just going to be so super sharp, super focused. And I hope Mikel Arteta plays the same team he's been playing for the past 2 games, because I think Calafiori at left back is a more attacking fullback. He takes more risks, he takes more chances. And when Miles Lewis get it in the midfield, he always looks to pass forward. He's not looking to pass sideways or backwards, and he's a fast passer as well. He's not someone who's just what's the word? He's very quick with when he passes and when he decides to pass. And if we stick with that team, I think West Ham are going to be in trouble. I think, it could turn ugly. I don't think it will. I think we're going to win 2-0 on the day.
It's either going to be incredibly tight, isn't it? Incredibly tight and won by the
I think
finest
the
margins.
scoreline will be
One and
tight.
all, or we had the game that we had before between these two sides where West Ham fans have gone after 25, 30 minutes.
I don't think it will be
them.
that. I do not think it will be that. Like, yes, I know we beat them. Was it 6-1 at their place last season or 6-2? But I just can't see that happening.
They're a lot better, aren't they, under Nuno? I know they lost 3-0 against Brentford, but for anyone who didn't see the game, they hit the bar, and I watched that game and I thought, you know what, I can't really split the sides. Honestly, even after 3-0, I thought maybe 2-1 Brentford. It was not a 3-0 game. Score is all that matters, but West Ham aren't a bad side. Don't be fooled by that.
It's not just that. It's that, yes, West Ham are in the bottom three, but if Tottenham lose this weekend, then they are still only 1 point. And I think that West Ham will be happy with a point. And I think that they'll also be wary of the strengths that Arsenal have and know not to go attack. Because they would have looked throughout this whole season with teams, and teams that attack us usually get battered. So I think that they're going to be smart with how they play, and I don't think it's going to be any more than a 3-goal thriller. I think we'll get a comfortable 2-0 win, I think.
Matt, thank you. Barney, can I get your thoughts on score prediction ahead of this game? Would you also agree with my statement? You might feel free if you don't. I think this weekend is the biggest for West Ham. I think it could be a point where they go, we're in this, or we back ourselves, or they could be completely out of it. And we're talking like 4 points away with 2 to go.
Obviously, we're going to get to the Spurs-Leeds game shortly with my prediction there because it will affect what I'm saying now. You never know in a London derby, first and foremost. That's just as it is. West Ham had a very good April, obviously lost to Brentford, but that was just one game. So in the previous games, they showed what they are about. They do have the quality when they switch it on, they are capable of getting a result against anyone, as they showed against us as well. So in that respect, I see goals in this game. I do believe Arsenal will just want to get the job done. I always say, it's better to have points on the board than games in hand. So I think Arsenal just want to get points on the board, do their job, and see it over the line. In that sense, they've done what they had to do. So in terms of prediction, I can't see a huge amount of goals. 2-1 to Arsenal.
Thank you very much. Last game then, I'll try to give my thoughts as a Tottenham fan. I will be there though, Tottenham against Leeds United. And all I will say is I think it's huge for Tottenham that they're playing last this week. They can see what happens with West Ham. I felt that was key against Brentford. I'm not saying it's, oh my God, it's like the most important thing in the world, but by the same token, I felt it was huge that we weren't playing at the same time last weekend. And I felt like we had just come to Villa Park with an extra energy, and that's something I've never seen before. That absolutely has got to be influenced by the fact that West Ham got beat, and for the goal difference as well, got beat badly. Matt, I'll start with you. Of course, I assume, tell me if I'm wrong, you'd be cheering on Leeds United, but can I get your thoughts ahead of this game and score prediction? Big one.
To be honest, I've with the situation with my club, I've just not been bothered with Tottenham really. It's not really what I'm focusing on.
We try to be the
same. But what I will say is I was impressed with Tottenham against Aston Villa. I thought De Zerbi got it spot on. Irregardless of the team that Villa put out and the shocking performance that they put in, I think that you thoroughly deserve the win. De Zerbi is... I'm still on the edge with De Zerbi in terms of, is he the right manager for you going forward? I think, is he the right manager for you to keep you up? It probably is. And I think, I just don't know with Leeds, because Leeds are they're a weird team because they beat Man United, who are third. But then they draw to some games, but Leeds are actually on a decent run at the moment. And I don't think Leeds are going to win, but I don't think Tottenham are going to win. I think it's going to be 2-2. I can see, a lot of goals in this game, and I think that Tottenham will look upon a point as a positive point because they'll know that, as long as they keep picking up points, it's going to be harder for West Ham.
The Leeds are all right, aren't they? Let's be honest.
Yeah,
even if Tottenham won
Leeds
the
are a
final, they're
good
all
team,
right,
a
aren't
very good team. Their striker Calvert-Lewin is in incredible form. Okafor, who's in very good form. And they've got a good midfield. I just think that if it was Leeds playing at home, I think they would just win because their fans are just loud as hell.
You said that's so sorry. I've got to chip in. Spurs' last home win in any. Well, no, I tell you what, take that back. Spurs' last home win in the Premier League, not quite in all competitions apart from one, but in the Premier League was the 6th of December. 6th of December was the last home win. I mean, it's laughable. It's that
No,
bad.
I know, but I think that with De Zerbi, that is changing. I think he's changing, not the atmosphere, but he's almost changing the.
He hasn't had many home games.
Well, that's true, but I think he's actually changing the expectations ever so slightly.
He's only had one home game.
Yeah, in that, you were playing at Brighton, wasn't you? That was the home game where you drew.
Won.
Yeah, and I think when you head into games now, you're like, we can win these games. Whereas before De Zerbi, I think you were probably going into them like, I just don't want to watch this game because you kind of know what's going to happen. So yeah, I think 2-2 would be a good result for Tottenham and would also be a decent result for Leeds.
Appreciate your honesty, Matt. Thank you very much. Barney, what are you thinking? Oh, your influence. Well, you say influence like we were saying before with West Ham. I'm interested to see how you think this will go. It's a huge weekend on the bottom.
It's a massive, massive weekend. And Leeds are no mugs. They're a good side.
Very good.
Again, a side who's come up from the Premier League and could, on their day, have been a few points better off, have results gone their way. But I ask any Leeds fan, I think they'll be delighted, that they just probably 3 or 4 more points now to be certain. But they'll certainly go into this game with confidence. As what Matt said, Spurs, for Villa's faults, Spurs were good because you still got to win. You still got to put the ball in the net, and they did it, and they did it well. And that's what you need. We've said this many times, Harry. I told you a lot, even off air. I said it's never over. You've just got to believe. You've got to be battling to the final whistle, and it is not over. It's in one of those kind of situations where, yes, Spurs could still go down, right? But then they could stay up, and you just got to believe and just play to your strengths. It's a tricky game to call this. I actually agree with Matt. I actually wrote down my score, and I put 2-2 as well. I see there being quite a few goals in this game. I don't see out winner, but I do think a point would be good for Leeds. Not so good for Spurs because you want the win. But yeah, I just think it'd be tight, a very tight game. So I'm going 2-2.
Okay, also going 2-2. Thank you very much. That wraps us up then for this episode of Scarfey Talks Premier League. Thank you to everyone that's listened, who sent in their comments as well. It looks like the majority of the people have been listening after. I think everyone's tuned in with, plugged in with, if you like, all the European action. They're going to come back in a day or two's time, maybe a little bit more for all of this stuff. But we got out to you nice and early this week. So thank you very much. Big thanks to my 2 guests in Matt and Barney. Let's see where you can find them on social media. You know I am by now. Harry Scarfe, at Harry Scarfe too, on all the socials. But please do subscribe to Scarfey Talks Premier League. If you're listening on YouTube, drop us a follow, 5-star review. Be the first to leave a review, in fact, if you're listening on audio platforms, because it's currently not on there. By the time you will hear this, though, hopefully it will be, if I pull my finger out. Unlike, well, I'll sound like Spurs, but more like Spurs in the last 2 weeks. Matt, where can people follow you on social media? Thanks for your time, mate.
Thanks for having me on. It's been a great pleasure. People can find me on Twitter. I am AFC Matex with 2 X's on the end.
Winding up the rival fans, eh? The usual.
Yeah.
Love it. No, I love it. Matt, thank you very, very much. You have every right to do so at the moment. Barney, where can people follow you on social media? Thank you as well for your time. And tell people where you're joining from. I forgot to ask you earlier. That's my bad. Tell people where you are right now.
Well, thank you, Harry. It's a pleasure to take part in your podcast. It means a lot, mate. So thank you so much. And it's good to talk to you as well, Matt. I'm in southern Spain in Estepona. I'm here for another 8 days. I've been out here for a very long time, actually. Almost 10 days already. So it's my annual breakdown here. My parents have a place in southern Spain, so it's just my mental health escape to escape London. You can follow me on X, Ambrose Barnaby, and on TikTok, Barney FFC. So drop me a follow, and thanks again, Harry, mate.
No worries at all. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your trip as well. It sounds lovely. I'd love to be there right now. Weather's not too fantastic. It's getting cold again. I'm not liking it. It feels like going backwards, so it should be going forward. But thank you very, very much. And certainly we are going forward in the season and it's heating up. So do check us out, Scarfey Talks Premier League, on all the socials. Daily Premier League news, updates, and everything you like is on the X page. Constant posts every day. So do check that out on Instagram now as well. And a new TikTok page is coming as we go near up to the summer. But for now, thank you very much. Wish your club all the best in Game Week 36.